We have another targeted killing of Israelites in a mass shooting, this time in Jacksonville, Florida. A white man fatally shoots 3 black people at a Florida store in a hate crime, then kills himself. Incredible. A masked white man fatally shot 3 black people inside a Jacksonville, Florida Dollar General store in a predominantly African-American, so-called African-American neighborhood on Saturday in an attack where he used a gun painted with a swastika, officials said. The shooter, who had also posted racist writings, then killed himself. He didn't make it to the promised land. Let me give you 2 verses for inspiration here. These will be your inspirational verses for today. Jeremiah 37. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Yes, we are at the end of days. Yes, we are in Jacob's trouble. Yes, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are in full control. And yes, Yahweh will be sending his Son, Christ, Yahushai, to redeem us very shortly for an everlasting salvation. The second verse for your inspiration is Isaiah 26:3. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. What we've got to do in these times, as times heat up, as they get tougher, as Satan unleashes himself all over this world, what we have to do is keep our minds in that perfect peace by keeping our minds stayed on him daily. Isaiah 26:3. We trust in you, Yah. We all need to keep our trust in him. He will give us that perfect peace. We need to keep our minds stayed upon him and be with him and in prayer daily. Now let's hear from Jacoby Pittman, a Jacksonville councilman and native of the Jacksonville area.
Right now, I am just lost for words. It's like everything happens in District 10, and our community is sick and tired of being sick and tired. Today, we're here, we're praying, we're asking the community. This was something that was unexpected. It was down from EWU. Out from what I understand, it was supposed to have been, a shooting at EWC. I'm not really sure, but that's what some of the people are out here saying. This is a tragic moment. My heart is heavy, and I'm just tired seeing all the shootings. This right here today was a tragedy. And I understand, I think the young man who was doing the shooting, I think he has been killed. But the people in this community, they're hurting. And they have every right to. This makes no sense. I am very, very angry right now. I'm emotional. We got kids in this community seeing all of this, and this is unnecessary. It's unjust that we can't even walk on the sidewalks. We're not safe in any stores, and I'm looking for opportunity. This community needs to come together. This should be an example of what we as a community, if you see something, don't wait till it happens. My heart is very heavy right now.
Here is the story for your edification. A white man fatally shoots 3 black people at a Florida store in a hate crime, then kills himself. A masked white man fatally shot 3 black people inside a Jacksonville, Florida Dollar General store in a predominantly African-American neighborhood on Saturday in an attack where he used a gun painted with a swastika. Officials said the shooter, who had also posted racist writings, then killed himself. He hated black people. Sheriff T.K. Waters said after reviewing the man's writings, they were actual manifestos, which were sent to federal law enforcement officials and at least one media outlet shortly before the attack, because he wanted this to be known. He wanted this information out there. Waters said the shooter, who was in his 20s, used a Glock handgun and an AR-15 semi-automatic rifle, with at least one of them painted with a swastika. He was wearing a bulletproof vest. He said the shooter had once been involved in a 2016 domestic violence incident and was once involuntarily committed to a mental hospital for examination. As I've been saying, there's a mental health crisis in the United States. A lot of it has to do with these drugs that they've been giving people, especially the children. They just grow up on these drugs, and next thing you know, they've been taking them for 8, 10, 12 years, and these drugs now are known to cause brain injury. It's been out. That information has been out. The sheriff said that the gunman had left behind 3 manifestos that led investigators to believe that he committed the shootings because it was the 5th anniversary of when another gunman opened fire during a video game tournament in Jacksonville, killing 2 people before fatally shooting himself. The shooting happened just before 2 p.m. at a Dollar General, about 3/4 of a mile from Edward Waters University, a small historically black university. Edwards Waters University has been around since 1866. I believe that he was actually targeting that black university. He was going to kill the black Israelites in that university. Let me read this other commentary. In a statement, the university said that shortly before the shooting, one of its security officers saw the man near the school's library and asked him to identify himself. When he refused, he was asked to leave. The man returned to his car. Sheriff Waters said the man was spotted putting on his vest and mask before leaving. He said it is unknown if he had originally planned to attack the school. I can tell you, well, here's my take on that. He was planning to attack the school, obviously. And this security guard should be raised up as a hero. He saved those children who are studying, trying to educate themselves and get better at a historically black college, were saved from slaughter. The security guard is a hero. Edward Waters students were locked down in their dorms for several hours after the shooting. No students or faculty are believed involved, the school said. The shooter had driven to Jacksonville from nearby Clay County, where he lived with his parents, the sheriff said. The house was being investigated. Shortly before the attack, the shooter sent his father a text message telling him to check his computer. The father found the manifestos and the family notified 911, but the shooting had already begun. This is a dark day in Jacksonville history. There is no place for hate in this community, the sheriff said. I am sickened by this cowardly shooter's personal ideology. Obviously, because this was a targeted, racist attack against so-called black people or the Israelites. The FBI was helping the sheriff's office and said it had opened a hate crime investigation. Mayor Donna Deegan said she is heartbroken. This is a community that has suffered again and again. So many times, this is where we end up. Deegan said, this is something that should not and must not continue to happen in our community. Ron DeSantis, after speaking by phone with the sheriff, called the shooter a scumbag and denounced his racist motivation. Ron DeSantis, I want to let you know that you're a part of the problem. You're a part of the reason why this person did this, because of the things that you've been doing in Florida, not allowing there to be the true history being taught, saying that slaves benefited from slavery. What kind of lunacy is that? So you are a part of the problem. We do not need to hear from you. Virginia Bradford lives in the neighborhood. This is a neighborhood resident. A neighborhood resident, Virginia Bradford, who frequently shops at the Dollar General, said she meant to go there Saturday for detergent and bleach but got sidetracked by other plans. That's my store, Bradford told reporters, looking past patrol cars with flashing lights, blocking the streets to the store a block away. I know everyone in the store. It's sad. Unsettled by the racist killings, Bradford, who is black, who is an Israelite, said she doubts she'll ever go back. I won't even send my kids up there anymore, she said. My nerves are bad. Well, yeah, because when you keep seeing yourself getting killed over and over, and these things continuing to happen, you end up with PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, and we suffer from that as a community, I believe. Penny Jones told the Associated Press in a phone interview that she worked at the store located a few blocks away from her home until a few months ago. I'm just waiting to hear about my coworkers that I used to work with, Jones said. I don't know if it's safe to move about the neighborhood. Jones added that she was feeling awkward and scared. The neighborhood of the shooting is known as Newton. It is a black neighborhood. This was a targeted shooting, a targeted mass shooting. Reached by the Associated Press on Saturday evening, March attendee and Jacksonville native Marsha Dean Feltz said learning of the shooting was a death blow. It hurts, Feltz said by phone while on a charter bus from Washington. Many fellow bus riders began hearing about the deadly shooting in their community just before they all boarded to make the long journey back. These people actually were at the commemorative March on Washington, which is the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington in the nation's capital, where organizers drew attention to the growing threat of hate-motivated violence against black people and other people of color, namely the Israelites. This is also the 60th anniversary. It was just a few days before the 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. It's a neighborhood, a black community that we come out of, said Feltz, 79 years old. Who's black? It's where our college is, Edward Waters University. LaTanya Thomas, 52, who was also riding a charter bus from the march home to Jacksonville, said she wouldn't allow the shooting to completely dampen her spirits, but she did feel sadness. We took this long journey from Jacksonville, Florida to be a part of history, she said. When I was told that there was a white shooter in a predominantly black area, I felt like that was a targeted situation. Absolutely, it was targeted. The attack on a shopping center in a predominantly black neighborhood will undoubtedly invoke fears of a past shooting targeting black Americans like the ones at the Buffalo, New York supermarket in 2022, if you guys remember that shooting there, that mass shooting, and one at a historic African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina in 2015. That was tragic. The Buffalo supermarket shooting in particular stands apart as one of the deadliest targeted attacks on black people by a white lone gunman in U.S. history. 10 people were killed by the gunman, who has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The shooting happened one day before the 63rd anniversary of one of Jacksonville's most notorious racist incidents. Axe Handle Saturday, as it was called. A group of black protesters were conducting a peaceful sit-in in a city park to protest the Jim Crow laws that kept them out of white-owned stores and restaurants. That's when they were attacked by 200 members of the Ku Klux Klan, who hit them with bats and axe handles as police stood by and did nothing. Only when members of a black street gang arrived to fight the Klansmen did the police intercede. Only black people were arrested. Well, at least we see some black people rose up in that incident to fight against this, kind of reminiscent of what we saw in Alabama at that boating situation. Okay, Israel, let's get back into it. As a lot of you know, the curses identify us, and we're suffering from curses. Let me bring out a verse, Deuteronomy 28:66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurances of thy life. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing it with this mass shooting. Our lives are in the balance. They hang in the balance because they can be taken at any time, and we fear day and night about our lives, about our safety. And that's just what one of the ladies said in what I had earlier read, which showed the PTSD that she suffers through and a lot of us suffer with. Next verse, Isaiah 45:17. Let's get to some good part here. But Israel shall be saved in Yah with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. So at the end of the day, as it says here, Christ is going to save us. We're going to be saved. And this salvation shall be an everlasting salvation because it will go on forever, for perpetuity, in eternity, when we take our rightful place in rulership in heaven. Also Isaiah 26:3, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee because he trusteth in thee. What we have to do is keep our minds on him, and he will give us that perfect peace. Stay in prayer, and he will continue to help you with that. Jeremiah 37, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Again, yes, we're in Jacob's trouble. This is coming to an end. We shall be saved out of it, and we will be redeemed by our Savior, Christ, Yahweh Shai. All praises. Israel, keep your head up. Keep your head up. Hold your head. Righteous Gentiles, we acknowledge you as well. Keep your heads up. We are going to make it. We shall have the victory. It will be eternal. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to Christ, Yahweh Shai, his son and my hero, as well as to the Holy Spirit for her knowledge and wisdom that she bestows upon us. Also, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about the epidemic of mass shootings going on in the United States, the epidemic of the targeted killings of the Israelites as well in the United States, as well as the maltreatment that we see throughout the world. Till the next video, comment, subscribe, let's get it. This is Crown Prince Media. I am the Crown Prince. All praises, let's go.